Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back. Daily Dose Radio is on the air, and you found your source for underground Bible study that's fresh and delicious every single day. Today, verses 8 and 9 in Psalm 98. Psalm 98. We're going to read verses 8 and 9 today. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday was Psalm 96. We still have this template of Psalm 96 that acts almost like a little skeleton for Psalm 98. Psalm 96, remember, is dependent upon 1 Chronicles 16, David's psalm of praise and glory to God when he dedicated the tabernacle for the ark in Jerusalem. Now we have Psalm 98, which is dependent upon 96, which is part of the Psalter and a piece of that psalm that David wrote in 1 Chronicles 16. We had, I mentioned in verse 1, two lines directly from Psalm 96. Again, we have a line directly from 96, let the sea roar in the fullness thereof. That was verse 7 yesterday. And then today, we're going to see the very last verse, verse 9, is directly from Psalm 96. It is actually the last verse of Psalm 96, verse 13. So our verse 9 here in Psalm 98 and the last verse 13 in Psalm 96 are exactly the same, or almost exactly the same. There's a little difference between them, but not much. So it comes from there being used by the psalmist to help create this beautiful psalm of praise to the Lord. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the hills be joyful together before the Lord, for he cometh to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world, and the people with equity. So the Lord is coming to judge with equity. But notice, first of all, the floods. We've seen the floods before. Do you remember in Psalm 93, we had the floods show up, and the floods represented the gathered peoples of the world, and the floods were roaring against God. They were lifting up their waves against the Lord. And we made mention of the fact that even though the gathered might of all the people of all the world might be against the Lord, he still reigns on high, and his throne is established. So really they can rage all they want, and they can say all they want, and they can disbelieve all they want, but God still reigns. Well, here the floods are clapping their hands. So they're not in opposition to God like they were in 93, but in this psalm, the floods are rejoicing in the Lord. Again, the floods represent the people of the world. And let the hills be joyful together. You see, he's coming, and so there's this cacophony of praise and worship. We're making a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. And so all the earth now has been described here. The sea, the people, all that dwell within, the floods, the hills are joyful together. All of that is happening because the Lord is coming. Notice verse 9. Before the Lord, for he cometh to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world, and the people with equity. Why is that? Why is he coming? Because that's what he does. He judges with righteousness and with equity, and his coming is assured. Now, we've mentioned at the beginning of the week how this psalm is adopted by Mary when she sings her song to Elizabeth. And so much of it has been incorporated into Mary's song, points to the Messiah. The Lord is coming. He has come. He came in the person of Jesus Christ, and now he's coming again. There's a second coming when Christ shall appear and shall retrieve his church and bring the judgment of God upon the world. You see, that's a second coming, and he will come again. He came the first time. He left in a cloud of glory and promised his disciples he would return, and now we wait the coming of the second time when he will return to judge the world in righteousness and with equity. Well, I hope you're ready for that coming. I hope that you're ready to see the Lord appear in the sky. I hope you'll join me again next week, and next week we'll look at Psalm 99 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.